He breathed into dirt, and a man stood up alive that looked like he would look in a body. And he said, it ain't good that this guy's alone. There's no one comparable. He's got nowhere to go with what I've made him. So he didn't make a woman because he needed her in the way we know. He didn't make her shapely and figurely so he could want her and lust her and whoa, man her. None of that was on the earth. That came later. That's why every time he says, put away the works of the flesh, every time the first thing on the list of the works of the flesh, you can go to Thessalonians, Romans, Corinthians, Galatians, everywhere there's a list of the works of the flesh, the very first thing on the list is sexuality. Why? Because it's so 180 perverted, so self-centered driven, so sensual and emotionally driven, and we've bought into it. We've been jaded through porn and Hollywood and starry-eyed emotion, and it's not the reality. It's not. There's a reason the first thing on the list in the Bible is sexuality. He doesn't say find a balance, get control. He says kill it as you know it. People say, well, God gave us our sex drive. Stop it. Adam gave you your sex drive. Because it's full of need and want and lust. God gave man and woman the ability to come together, but it's a beautiful and holy and amazing thing. It has nothing to do with a one-night stand or a pastor sleeping with a worship leader. It has nothing to do with unresolved conflicts and empty hearts and vacuums and emotionally driven people that are making grave mistakes and misrepresenting truth. And then we say, well, you know, flesh is evil. We just don't, who knows the heart of man? It's amazing God considers us. Stop it! He's called us to be transformed. Let's stop making excuses for staying the same when he paid a price for new life through Jesus Christ. If any man be in Christ, any man be in Christ, he's a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things. I bet he's talking about motive and reason for being and purpose. Come on. He took away my neediness. I used to lust after my wife. I used to need my wife. I could be angry with my wife and function sexually and just act out porn in my mind and tell her I loved her. And because I could function and be satisfied, I guess she felt like she was doing her part and she still had it going on because she could get me there. I could be angry at her and function that way because I was lost. I could live at her expense and not think twice about it and say, I love you and not be convicted. Yeah, it's just okay if somebody gets straight with some of this stuff. I'm leaving this afternoon anyway, so. You don't know one arena in your life, and neither do I. It's a close second to the exploitation of sexuality. There's not an arena that's even a close second of the attention and focus on sexuality. Why? You do not counterfeit $1 bills. You go after the big pot of gold. And you counterfeit an area that men are driven by their senses instead of their spirit. See, I'm talking with boldness because I know what it was like before I knew Christ and how I was in my marriage. And I know who I am now and what I was like after Jesus came and overtook my life. I speak with great boldness. And my wife knows and she understands. And it attracts her and it makes her feel loved. It makes her feel special. Not the most beautiful woman in the world. That is not your goal, ladies. Your goal is to look like Jesus. Your goal is not to look like Cosmopolitan. Teenagers, listen carefully. Young ladies, you better listen. You don't want men to lust you. You want a man to love you. If You're not a virgin in this place and you're not married. God has mercy for you if you get understanding. You're not judged. You're not condemned by a message. If you are a virgin, why don't you treasure that and understand that God gave you a little layer of skin inside your vagina called a hymen. And it's intended for one man to be broken one time to secrete blood, blood in the semen, blood covenant. I love you. We're married. It doesn't grow back unless something supernatural happens. Who made man and woman? Do you think he just put that in there by happenstance, or do you think it has great cause and reason? We're on the streets as young kids saying, hey, did you pop her cherry? Hey, was she a virgin? Hey, did you take her virginity? Like we're boasting in it as if it's a trophy. Come on, y'all know I'm right. And young women get deceived and think because a man wants her, she's all that. You ought to hear how we talk in the locker room. You don't have to be all that. You just have to have the right stuff. I'm sorry I'm not more romantic. But I've never saw anybody sleeping around trying to find their value through men or women that was ever truly blessed and shining a light and multiplying and manifesting something people wanted. I remember I had an algebra teacher. I was failing because I was looking at her. Why? Because when I was 11, I found a porn magazine on a railroad track, laying folded up on a railroad track on a Sunday afternoon, taking a walk. 11. That was my introduction to porn. And I was never addicted to it. I never grabbed it and fed on it, but it marked me. It contaminated me. It aroused something that Adam put in me. Don't you tell me God made us this way. Don't you say this was there from the beginning. Adam didn't come out of his sleep and go, whoa, girl, let's get it on. Watch. I hope I'm okay. He's not walking through the garden with an erection going, Lord, everything's cool, but I don't know about this. What should I do with this? Oh, let me help you out, son. Woohoo! I'm sorry. That's not how it went down. He put Adam in a sleep, and he reached into man. He did not make another lump of clay. He reached into what already was in him through one breath. He reached into man, and he brought forth the woman out of man. So he reached into the fullness of God in man and brought forth the woman, so man had an avenue of expression of the fullness of God and somewhere to love. Not need, not want, not orgasm, love. Lay down my life to bring out your highest best. All that is mine is yours. That's from the beginning. And it's speaking concerning Christ and His church. And it's a divine mystery. And what God has joined together, that no one put asunder.